What if I told you, you were never meant to live a normal life? That the pain, the rejection, the chaos wasn't a punishment, but a signal, a mark, one placed on you before you even took your first breath. So the question isn't if you're different. The real question is why? And what happens when the world finally realizes it? From the outside, you've always looked like everyone else. But deep down, something's been off. You've felt it since childhood, like a quiet whisper in the dark. You don't belong here. You see things they don't. You feel things too deeply. You tried to fit in, tried to ignore the pull, tried to silence the voice. But no matter what you did, that feeling never left. You've been through storms others couldn't survive, felt pain others couldn't understand. And every time you stood back up, it was like something inside you refused to die. Have you ever wondered why you're still here? Why, even after everything, a part of you still believes there's something bigger waiting? It's not a coincidence. You were chosen, marked, set apart for something massive, something that terrifies the systems of this world. But here's the part no one tells you. The darkest moments of your life were actually the beginning of your awakening. So now the question becomes, what is this mark? How do you know if you carry it? And what will it unlock in your life once you accept it? Because in the next few minutes, we're going to uncover 7 signs that prove you've been marked by God. And trust me, by the time we reach the final sign, you'll never look at your life the same again. But be warned, once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, who am I really? Not your name, not your job, not the version of yourself the world sees, but the real you, the one beneath the masks, beneath the pain. Because deep down, you've always known you are different. The isolation you can't explain. You've never truly fit in. Even in a crowded room, you've felt alone. While others chase trends, you crave truth. They numb their minds, but you search for meaning. They laugh easily, but you feel the weight of the world in silence. Ever wonder why you've always sensed things others miss? That conversation that felt off. That place that gave you chills for no reason. The dreams that felt too real to ignore. This isn't imagination. It's not oversensitivity. It's the evidence that you've been marked. Chosen, but misplaced. You weren't born into the right environment. Your family might not understand you. Your friends might think you're too much. But none of that is your fault. You were dropped into the wrong battlefield, but trained for a much bigger war. There's a reason your life has been filled with storms. It wasn't because you were weak. It's because your strength needed to be activated. God doesn't send warriors where there's no fight. You were placed where you'd be tested, broken, betrayed, refined, because when you rise, you'll rise unstoppable. They tried to dim you. Society doesn't know what to do with people like you. So what do? They label you. Too quiet, too emotional, too intense, too rebellious. But these weren't flaws. They were clues. Clues that you were never meant to walk the ordinary path. While they settled for comfort, you longed for truth. While they worshipped noise, you were drawn to the voice inside, whispering, "There's more." The revelation hits, and now, something is shifting. Have you felt it? Moments of clarity, synchronicities, random signs that feel too precise to be random. A song that says exactly what you needed. A stranger's words that feel like prophecy. A recurring number, 111, 777, 999, showing up like a breadcrumb trail from the universe. These are not coincidences. These are confirmations. You're remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. You were never ordinary. Do you know what makes you dangerous? It's not your mind. It's not your skills. It's your knowing. Even when life tried to drown you in doubt, something in you refused to believe this was all there was. And that refusal, that rebellion, was the first sign of awakening. The moment you began to question this reality, you broke their illusion. That's why you're here. That's why you're watching this. This is your confirmation. Curiosity loop. The signs begin. But here's where it gets deeper. What if I told you there are 7 clear signs that you've been marked by the divine? That your pain, your instincts, your isolation, were all building towards something sacred. In the next part of this journey, we'll uncover the first powerful sign, and once you see it, you'll realize it's been present in your life all along. You've been walking with it, sleeping beside it, fighting with it, and now it's time to understand it. So ask yourself, what would change if you finally embraced the fact that you were chosen? If your spirit is stirring right now, comment "I am marked" below, not for the algorithm, but as a declaration to the universe, to God, to your higher self. The first sign, divine protection and preservation. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked away from a situation thinking, that could have gone so wrong, but somehow I was protected? Maybe it was a near accident or a bad decision that should have destroyed your life, but it didn't. Maybe you've wondered, why did I make it through when others didn't? The answer? Because you are marked by divine protection. Because God isn't just watching you, He's walking with you. What protection really looks like? We often imagine divine protection as this shining bubble that keeps us from harm. But in truth, it's much deeper. It's the gut feeling that tells you not to take that road. It's the delay that makes you miss the train, only to find out something terrible happened on it. It's that friend who randomly calls you when you're one thought away from breaking. Coincidence or God's timing? The world may call it luck, but you know better, because you've felt it. A story you've lived without knowing. Let me tell you a story. There was once a person who walked through life wondering why things always almost broke them, but never did. They weren't the strongest, they weren't the most righteous, but they had something special. Every battle should have left scars. Every loss should have ended them. But every time, something pulled them back. It wasn't luck. It was the invisible shield of divine protection. And that person, that was you. The shield you didn't know you had. You've survived things that others couldn't handle. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the sleepless nights, the days you prayed through clenched teeth and swollen eyes. Somehow you still kept going. That's not weakness. That's marking. Psalm 91 says, "He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge." Imagine that, the Creator of the universe, covering you, not just watching, but shielding you. When the enemy came close, when the trap was set, when darkness surrounded you, God stood in the gap. Protection isn't always comfortable, but here's the twist. Divine protection doesn't always feel good. Sometimes God blocks something you were desperate for. The job, the relationship, the opportunity. You cry, you beg, you feel abandoned. But later you look back and realize, that delay saved my life. Sometimes God removes people because they were secretly sent to destroy your purpose. He shuts doors because what was behind them would have pulled you off your path. You weren't being punished, you were being preserved. Why you were preserved? Not everyone makes it out of the battles you've faced. Not everyone comes back from the emotional wreckage you've walked through, but you did. And there's a reason. You were preserved because your mission isn't complete. You've still got work to do, people to help, light to carry, truth to speak. This protection isn't random, it's intentional. The lion's den moments. Remember Daniel in the lion's den. The world expected him to die, but the lions didn't even open their mouths. Why? Because the divine mark of protection was stronger than the danger. You've had your own lion's den moments. The accident that didn't happen, the breakdown that didn't take you out, the attack that came but didn't touch you. That's divine preservation in action. Not always dramatic, but always real. But here's what most don't understand. Being protected doesn't mean you're better. It means you're chosen, and being chosen comes with a price. So let me ask you, have you ever wondered why certain things keep happening to you, but not to others? Why you feel like you're constantly in spiritual warfare, while others coast? It's not in your head, it's part of your marking. And in the next part, we'll uncover something even deeper. The second undeniable sign that you're chosen, your spiritual sensitivity. The ability to see, feel, and sense what others ignore. You've always had it, but you've never known why, until now. Final thought for this section. If you're watching this and realizing, yes, I've seen that protection, then type in the comments, still here because of God, not for me, not for clicks, but to claim your mark, to acknowledge that your survival wasn't luck, it was divine design. The second sign, spiritual sensitivity and inner sight. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt something was off, even before anyone spoke, or looked someone in the eye and sensed that their words didn't match their energy? That's not overthinking. That's not paranoia. That's spiritual sensitivity, a powerful sign that you are marked by God. What is spiritual sensitivity? It's that invisible radar built into your soul. It's the inner sight that doesn't need physical proof to feel truth. It's the voice that whispers, there's more going on here than meets the eye. And guess what? Not everyone has this. In fact, most people are spiritually asleep, walking blindly through life, deaf to divine warnings, numb to the unseen forces that shape their paths. But you feel it. You see it. You sense what others don't, because you were born awake. The battle of the spiritually awake. Now let me be honest. Being spiritually sensitive isn't always a blessing. Sometimes it feels like a burden, because when you're spiritually awake in a world that's spiritually blind, you feel everything. You sense pain in people who smile. You feel drained by conversations others find normal. You're affected by environments others can't even perceive. This is why you get tired faster, why your peace feels harder to protect, why being around certain people leaves you feeling heavy. You're not weak, you're not broken. You're spiritually tuned in. The childhood clues you ignored. Think back as a child. Did you have vivid dreams that felt more real than reality? Ask deep questions that made adults uncomfortable. Get told you were too emotional or too sensitive. These weren't flaws. They were early signs of your divine wiring. You saw beauty where others didn't. You felt pain that wasn't yours. You stared at the stars and knew there's something more out there. Even then, God was shaping your awareness. The cost of seeing too much. With sensitivity comes responsibility. You've probably noticed you attract broken people. Strangers open up to you about their trauma. You get overwhelmed in crowded places. That's because your spirit emits light, and people, even if they don't realize it, are drawn to it. But not everyone is meant to stay. Your sensitivity is sacred, and not every energy deserves access. Some people weren't sent to be healed. They were sent to drain you, and your journey now is learning to discern the difference. Why you sense things others ignore. Have you ever known something bad was going to happen, and then it did? That moment wasn't coincidence. It was confirmation. Spiritual sensitivity gives you pre-warning. It allows you to pick up on spiritual shifts before they manifest physically. The Bible says, "He who has ears, let him hear what the Spirit says." You have those ears. And this gift, this inner sight, is one of the clearest signs that you're marked by God. Because He doesn't give that kind of vision to just anyone. The double-edged sword. But with this gift comes a paradox. You see truth, but it can isolate you. You feel pain, but can't always explain it. You know more, but that knowing can be lonely. Sound familiar? Let me tell you something powerful. The reason you've always felt like the black sheep is because you weren't made to blend in. You were made to stand apart. And your spiritual sensitivity was the very tool God gave you to navigate a dark world without losing your light. The visionary within you, this sensitivity, isn't just about sensing pain or danger. It's also about vision, the ability to see what's possible before it exists. That's why you've had ideas people didn't understand, dreams people laughed at, a calling people said was too big. But here's the truth. If they could feel what you feel, they'd believe like you do. You've always felt you were meant for something more, even when you couldn't explain it. Even when others told you to just be realistic. That pull in your chest, that ache in your soul, it's not imagination, it's revelation. This is why you can't numb out people, try to drown their sensitivity in addictions, busyness, numbness. But you can't. Because your spirit refuses to die quietly. Because God's mark on you is like a fire that won't go out. You can try to run from it. You can try to ignore it. But eventually, the dreams return. The signs get louder. The feeling deepens. Because you're not meant to sleepwalk through life. You're meant to awaken others. What this means for you. Here's the truth. Your spiritual sensitivity isn't just a sign you're marked by God. It's also a tool, a compass, a weapon. Use it. Don't apologize for feeling deeply. Don't shrink to make others comfortable. Don't ignore the inner whispers, because they're not just your thoughts. They're your instructions. Now that you know the second sign, let me ask you, what if the very pain you felt all your life wasn't a curse, but a calling? What if your most confusing experiences, the moments that didn't make sense, were actually training? And what if I told you the third sign will make everything click? In the next part, we uncover the third undeniable sign that you are chosen. Your trials were never random. They were refined by fire. You've been through the storm. But do you know why? Let's talk about that next. Trials that refine. The fire that doesn't burn you. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever wondered, why me? Why you had to suffer so deeply? Face battles that no one else saw. Cry silent tears that no one ever acknowledged. If you've ever felt like the fire of life was consuming you, you're not alone. But here's the truth. That fire didn't burn you to destroy you. It came to refine you. Because you are marked by God. And those chosen by Him are not made in comfort. They're made in fire. The hidden purpose behind your pain. Every time your world collapsed. Every time someone betrayed you. Every time you felt alone in a crowded room. It wasn't meaningless. It was God's hand shaping you in ways you couldn't yet understand. See, God doesn't test those He hasn't called. He doesn't allow pressure on people without purpose. The trials you've endured weren't accidents, they were assignments. And if you're honest, you've walked through fires that should have broken you, but you didn't break. You bent, you burned, but you rose. That's not weakness. That's the mark of someone chosen. Why the enemy fights you so hard? Let's be real. Some people live easy lives, minimal pain, smooth paths, but not you. Your life has felt like a battlefield, and you've probably asked, why am I being attacked so much? Because the enemy sees your potential before you do. He sees the divine seal on your spirit, and knows if you ever discover who you truly are, his grip on the world weakens. That's why the fire has been so hot. That's why the losses hit so deep. That's why the betrayals cut so sharp. Because your existence threatens darkness. The breaking was part of the building. Maybe you lost someone you loved. Maybe your dream collapsed. Maybe you were humiliated when you least expected it. What if I told you that loss wasn't a punishment? It was a redirection. Sometimes God has to break what you built on a shaky foundation so He can rebuild it stronger. Sometimes He removes what you clung to, because what's coming is so much greater. It's not cruelty, it's preparation. And you were never meant to live like everyone else. You were meant to be refined into something rare. The fire never burns the chosen. It burns the impurities. Ever heard of gold being refined? It's heated to extreme temperatures, not to destroy it, but to burn off everything that isn't gold. You are that gold, and the heat you felt was God burning off fear, insecurity, doubt, and lies you believed about yourself. You thought you were weak. He showed you strength. You thought you were alone. He taught you presence. You thought you were broken. He revealed your resilience. The fire never came to consume you. It came to reveal you. Your story wasn't a detour. It was the map. Look back at the worst chapter of your life. What did it teach you? Maybe it taught you how to pray deeper. Maybe it forced you to set boundaries. Maybe it revealed who really had your back. What you thought was a breakdown was actually the blueprint. You just didn't know it yet. Every setback was a setup. Every loss was a lesson. Every delay was divine. And today, looking back, can you see it now? Can you feel how far you've come? That's not random. That's refined purpose. The storm was proof of the calling. People often ask, if I'm chosen, why is my life so hard? Because when God marks you, He doesn't shield you from storms. He builds you through them. Do you remember Jonah? The storm didn't come to kill him. It came to redirect him to his purpose. And just like Jonah, your storms were not punishments. They were divine disruptions, meant to get you back on track. God knew you would come through it, but He needed you to wake up in it. Pain that birthed power. Let's be brutally honest. You didn't grow during the easy seasons. You grew in the chaos. When they left you, you learned self-worth. When you hit rock bottom, you found God at the foundation. When the door slammed shut, you built a new one. The pain became your teacher. The struggle became your strength. And the suffering became your story. You don't just survive anymore. You carry power now. You walk differently. You love differently. You believe differently. And that's not accidental. That's a mark of refinement. You might feel like you've already been through enough. But let me ask you, what if this was only the training ground? What if the pressure was just to prepare you for influence? What if the fire didn't just refine you, but also anointed you? Because the next sign we're about to uncover might explain why you're being prepared to lead, whether you want to or not. Even if you don't feel ready, even if you've doubted your calling, there's a leadership rising in you that's not optional. And that leadership is the fourth sign that you are marked by God. The unseen leadership mantle. You were born to guide others. Have you ever wondered why people come to you for advice, even when you're the one going through storms? Why strangers open up their hearts to you like you're a safe haven? Why your words carry weight, even when you're unsure of your own path? Chosen one, that's not random. It's not a coincidence. It's because you were born to lead, quietly, powerfully, and spiritually. You carry a leadership mantle that most cannot see, but it is there, resting on your shoulders like a divine robe of responsibility. And in this moment, it's time to recognize it. Because when you realize that you're not just surviving for yourself, but for others watching you, everything changes. The silent burden of the leader. You've always felt different. Not better, just different. You've walked through fire alone, fought battles in silence, carried pain that no one else saw, while still smiling, still showing up, still giving your all. And maybe you've asked, why me? Why is my path so heavy when I'm trying to do good? Because leaders are forged, not chosen by popularity or fame, but by pain, resilience, and unshakable faith. The universe, God, the divine, has marked you. You weren't built for a normal path because you weren't made for a normal purpose. You were made to lead souls out of darkness by first walking through it yourself. Leadership without a stage. Let's redefine what leadership really means. It's not always microphones, crowds, or titles. Sometimes it's the quiet influence of your actions. It's the child in your life, watching how you respond when life gets tough. It's your friend who finds hope in your strength, even when you feel weak. It's the stranger who sees your light in passing and suddenly remembers their own. You lead by who you are, not just what you do. And that's why your suffering has not been in vain. Every tear, every fall, every moment you thought you couldn't go on was preparation. You're not just going through things, you're growing through them, so others can too. The invisible tribe that follows you. What if I told you people are following you already, even if they don't say it, even if they never press like or leave a comment, even if they act like they're not watching? You are being watched, and not in a scary way, but in a divine one. People are learning from your courage. They're inspired by your resilience, and they're waiting not just for your success, but for your message. Because your story is not just yours. It's a map, a blueprint for someone else's breakthrough. From broken to beacon, leadership doesn't begin when you're perfect. It begins when you're honest, raw, vulnerable. You were broken, but you're still standing. You've lost, but you've never been lost. You've cried, but you've never quit. And that's why you're a leader. The world doesn't need more perfection. It needs truth. It needs leaders who say, I've been where you are, and I made it through. Your wounds, when healed, become wisdom. Your story, when shared, becomes strategy. You are the bridge between the pain and the purpose for others who still don't see the way out. Why you were chosen for this role. You didn't choose this path. It chose you. And the reason is simple. You can handle it. You can carry the weight. You can walk ahead in the dark, holding the light for those behind you. That's what makes you different. You don't run from storms. You become the calm within them. You were given extra fire because your light needs to shine brighter. You were given deeper valleys so you could lead others to higher peaks. You were chosen because where others would break, you awaken. Signs you're already leading without knowing it. People tell you you're wise beyond your years. You're the one everyone turns to in chaos. You often feel drained because you're carrying the emotional weight of others. You constantly feel responsible for helping, healing, or guiding, even when no one asked. You've had to grow up quickly. You see people's pain, even when they try to hide it. These are not weaknesses. These are spiritual clues. They're signs that the divine has placed a mantle on you to serve a higher purpose. But what if you don't feel ready? You're not supposed to. No great leader ever felt ready. Even Moses told God, "I'm not good with words." Even Esther was terrified to speak up. Even Jesus prayed, "If it's possible, let this cup pass from me." You're in good company. Leadership isn't about feeling ready. It's about being willing. And the fact that you're here, watching this, listening, resonating, means your spirit is already saying yes. Your calling won't wait for your confidence. It's showing up now, because someone needs what only you can give. How to step into the mantle. You don't need to shout louder. You need to go deeper. Here's how you begin stepping into your spiritual leadership role. Own your story. Your past is not a weakness. It's a credential. Start seeing your journey as sacred. Speak even when your voice shakes. Whether through words, art, presence, or service, express your truth. Protect your energy. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Protect your peace, your vision, and your boundaries. Stay connected to the source. Leadership without spiritual connection is empty. Make time for God, for silence, for reflection. Accept that not everyone will understand. You weren't chosen to be liked. You were chosen to lead. Keep walking. This is your assignment, not your option. You are not just here to live. You are here to lead. You may not have asked for this responsibility, but your soul signed up for it before you were born. And now the time has come. The world is chaotic. Souls are lost. Light is needed. And guess what? You've been prepared your entire life for this moment. Every fall was a lesson. Every night of tears was a rebirth. Every moment of loneliness was a whisper from the divine. You are not like them. You are chosen. The awakening of a leader begins now. So, chosen one, let this be the moment you stop doubting your power. Let this be the moment you stop hiding your light. Let this be the moment you realize you are not alone. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are being positioned, not for fame, not for fortune, but for impact. You are a leader divinely designed to awaken others by awakening yourself. The mantle is already on you. Now it's time to walk like it. The rise of a new era. Your legacy begins now, chosen one. Take a deep breath, because what you're about to realize is this. You're no longer in the phase of waiting. You've passed through the desert. You've endured the silence. You've been broken and rebuilt. You've walked through fire, and now you carry the flame. This moment, right here, right now, is not just the end of a journey. It is the beginning of a new era. The age of hiding is over. The days of surviving are behind you. Your time to rise has finally come. This is your legacy season. Why now? You may ask, why now? Why me? Why this moment? Because the world needs what only you carry. Not the polished version of you, not the perfect you, but the real, refined, and resurrected you. You've been equipped not just to inspire others, but to leave a permanent imprint on the lives you touch. And no, legacy isn't about fame. It's not about going viral. It's about impact that echoes long after you're gone. It's about becoming a living message, a walking testimony of what's possible when someone refuses to give up. You are that person. You are that possibility. You are the living legacy. Every battle prepared. You think back for a moment. Think of all the sleepless nights, the closed doors, the betrayal, the loneliness. None of it was wasted. Every setback was a setup. Every fall was a part of the formation. You weren't being punished. You were being positioned. And when you finally understood the weight of your calling, things began to shift. People who couldn't walk with your growth, gone. Environments that dimmed your light, removed. Old versions of you, buried. You became new, not all at once, but layer by layer, like gold refined in fire. Your legacy wasn't born in comfort, it was born in conflict. And now you carry the authority of survival. Now you're ready to build. You are the blueprint. There are people watching your journey right now, silently, secretly, because they need proof that transformation is possible. They need to know that pain doesn't have the final word. They need to see that purpose can be born from suffering. And that healing is not just a fantasy, it's a reality. You chosen one are their proof. You are the walking evidence of what divine alignment can do. So don't hold back now. Speak your truth. Share your scars. Shine unapologetically. Because someone is going to look at your life and say, because they made it, I believe I can too. You are the blueprint for someone else's breakthrough. Your legacy is not a destination, it's a ripple. You don't have to wait for a platform to begin. You don't need thousands of followers to be impactful. Legacy starts the moment you choose to live aligned, with courage, with love, with purpose. It's the child who sees your compassion and grows up kind. It's the friend who hears your truth and finds healing in their own pain. It's the stranger who watches your growth from afar and reconsiders giving up. Legacy is not what you leave behind, it's what you leave within. Every word, every act, every moment infused with light becomes a seed, and those seeds grow long after you're gone. What seeds are you planting today? Because your life has already begun to echo beyond this moment. This is not just personal, it's prophetic. Understand this: your journey isn't just about you, it's about generations. Your healing breaks generational chains. Your faith rewrites family destinies. Your rise shifts timelines. This is ancestral alignment. The battles your ancestors fought, the prayers they whispered, the tears they cried. You are the answer. You are the one who stood up, broke the cycle, and said it ends with me, and greatness begins with me. That is legacy. It's not just who you inspire, it's what you restore. And now you get to build something that lasts beyond your lifetime. Not just success, but significance. The mantle is yours. Now move like it. You no longer need permission. You don't have to wait for someone to anoint you. You've been chosen already. The crown isn't coming. It's already on your head. Walk like it. Speak like it. Create like it. Decide like it. This is not the time to shrink. This is the time to expand, to lead, to pour out, to leave nothing on the table. Let this be the era where your name becomes synonymous with purpose. Let this be the season when you stop playing small and step into the fullness of your calling. Because the world is not waiting for another influencer. It's waiting for a legacy carrier. And that is who you are. But what if you're still afraid? Let's be honest. Even now, after all the growth, all the clarity, you may still feel a flicker of doubt. That's okay. Fear is not the enemy. Silence is. You're allowed to be afraid, but you're not allowed to stop. Not now. Not after everything. Because courage doesn't mean fear is gone. It means you keep going with fear in your pocket and faith in your chest. You've come too far to quit, and your future is too bright to dim now. Your legacy has already begun. Look around. The way you speak now, the way you show up, the way you pour into others, it's already started. The ripple effect has begun. And what comes next? Only God knows the full scale of the lives that will be changed because you chose to live differently, to rise, to lead, to heal, to love boldly. This is your revolution, and the world will feel it. Now it's time to seal it. So chosen one, as this journey reaches its final chapter, let's anchor it with clarity. You were chosen, not for ease but for elevation. You were refined, not for status but for service. You were broken, not for destruction, but for rebirth. You were called, not to fit in, but to lead out. And now, you are ready. Final activation. Seal this transformation. Let's take a moment to remember why you're still here. You've crossed the storms most people never survive. You've awakened to the truth that you were never ordinary. And today you didn't just watch a video. You walked through your rebirth. From isolation to divine identity. From confusion to purpose. From fear to unshakable faith. This wasn't just a message. It was a mirror. A reminder that the pain you endured was preparation for the legacy you're about to build. You are no longer walking in the dark. You've stepped into the light. You are no longer begging for answers. You've been given divine clarity. You are no longer asking why me, because now you know you were chosen. And now it's time to anchor this transformation. Here's how to lock it in. Right now, comment below. God, I receive this mark and mission. Why? Because when you declare it in faith, the heavens take notice. And whoever honors God publicly will be honored by life itself. It's more than a comment. It's a spiritual seal. Like this video, if it shook something deep within you, the algorithm doesn't need your click. Your spirit does. Subscribe, because what's coming next will awaken things even deeper. This is not just content. It's your soul journey. Share this with someone who feels lost. You might just be the reason they finally wake up. This is your new beginning, your reset, your rise. The world will soon witness a new you, and you'll look back at this exact moment and whisper to yourself, this was the day it all began. Now go live like the chosen one you are. We'll meet again stronger, wiser, unstoppable.